Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Nick Amatangelo.
And I'm Amanda Cohan. Here's what's happening in Loyola Athletics. Senior goalkeeper Peter McEwen of the men's soccer team has been named a candidate for the Senior Class Award. McEwen was one of 60 athletes across the country to be recognized for demonstrating excellence in community, classroom, character, and competition among college senior athletes. Semifinalists will be named in October, and winners will be named in late November. Stay tuned for an in-depth interview with McEwen later in the show.
Loyola men's soccer team earned their first win of the season on Friday, September 14th, edging past IPFW 1-0. Freshman Jake Savino scored the only goal of the game in the 89th minute to secure the win for the Ramblers. On Tuesday, the Ramblers fell to Eastern Illinois University 2-0.
Sam Peasant-Stadler and senior Gina Valgoy were named Horizon League Runners of the Week following their performances at the Illinois Intercollegiate this past weekend. Peasant-Stadler ran the top time and helped the men's cross-country team win the team championship. Valgoy also won her race leading the women's cross-country team to second place honors. Both teams are now nationally ranked and will run next at the Sean Earl Lakefront Invitational on Montrose Beach, September 29th.
Sophomore goalkeeper Monica Gagno of the women's soccer team was named Horizon League Defensive Player of the Week. Gagno earned this award following an impressive weekend where she held South Dakota to a single goal and shut out Bowling Green. This is Gagno's first Horizon League Player of the Week accolade. The women's soccer team will be back in action this weekend as they open conference play this Friday, home against Cleveland State.
The women's volleyball team played their first games in the newly renovated Gentile Arena over the weekend. As hosts of the Rambler Challenge, the ladies went 3-0 on the weekend, defeating Chicago State, USC Upstate, and DePaul. Anna Etchison ripped a match-high 22 kills. Tournament MVP Kathleen Vogel added 17 and Laura Purcell finished with 14. The team is at home this weekend opening conference play against Wright State and Valparaiso.
The indoor track and field season is set to start in the coming weeks. Junior James McLachlan will headline the roster, coming off a sophomore campaign where he earned NCAA second-team All-American honors and broke Loyola's indoor triple and long jump records. McLachlan has traveled a long way from his home in England, but he's been able to enjoy a continued success in the States. Joe Flaherty sat down with McLachlan to learn more about his journey to Loyola and what we can expect to see from him this coming season.
James McLachlan started his love affair with the sport in his small hometown of Windham, England. He still makes his home there over the summers, but he explained to me that the upgrade in competition was what drew him across the pond to compete at Loyola.
The standard is definitely higher here. There's no doubt about that. So there's a lot of English, not just English, but there's a lot of athletes from around the world that are starting to come to the NCAA because of the standard. One thing maybe that I do miss is the sort of exposure that track gets over in Britain, because it's not one of the big sports, but it's more mainstream. People are in general more knowledgeable about it, so that's nice. And there's a living to be made in track back over in Europe. But I wanted to come to university in the States because the NCAA is such a high quality competition. And then my dad actually had a friend in Chicago. He was the contact over here, did a lot of digging for the schools, visited DePaul and here, liked this place a lot better, knew that Norva was coming, so there was going to be some big changes, and that ultimately is why I made the decision to come here.
McLachlan's performance last year has helped put Loyola's track team on the national map, but he gave a humble answer when I asked him how his performance has affected his team, and mentioned that his teammates were improving just as much as he is.
It's hard to say what your individual impact is. My dad always tells me that self-praise is no honor, so I think that your impact is measured more, I suppose, by what other people say about you. Success breeds success. Declan and I making it to the national meet, a couple of the guys making it to the regional meet, all of that pushes the program forward in a positive direction, and there's been a huge jump since I've been here. We've got a lot of high quality recruits in, the ethos that Dr. Calhoun's implemented since she's been here has been fantastic, and everything just keeps moving forward at an unbelievably rapid pace.
McLachlan did suffer a hamstring injury last year that kept him out of the entire outdoor track season, but he reassured me that he's 100% healed and he's ready to go for this upcoming season. When I asked McLachlan what his ultimate goal was, it was to bring his journey full circle and compete for England in the 2016 Rio Olympics. If he keeps up this pace, he should have no problems reaching his goal. Reporting for the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Joe Flaherty.
After a slow start to their season, the women's soccer team is currently 4-4-1 as they enter conference play. Brendan Bond sits down with second-year head coach Barry Bimbi to discuss the season and how year 2 is going for Bimbi and the team.
You guys just came off a weekend where you had 1 tie and 1 win, so your record now stands at 4-4-1. Can you just talk briefly about how the season has gone so far?
Yeah, we got off to a tough start with 1-4. We started the season with 5 road games, Big East team, 2 Big Ten teams on the road. But from the beginning, just kind of told the girls, the schedule is what it is. We got to play the games, and we're in a marathon, not a sprint. So looking to take positives out of each game, and open up the season great with the win over DePaul, and hit some bumps in the road along the way. But we're better for it now.
Speaking of marathon, you guys have a tendency to play some marathon games, 3 overtime games this year. How have you seen the girls respond? I think you guys are 2-0-1 in overtime games.
Yep. It's the first one against Yale. We got the goal from Anna, and from then on, it was just kind of like when we went into overtime, we're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And we got excited, and it was a good way to start our 4-game unbeaten streak here with a great, exciting win over Yale, and then that just carried us into the Western Michigan game.
Sophomore goalkeeper Monica Gagne was just named Horizon League Defensive Player of the Week this past week. Along with her, have there been any other players you've seen that really stepped up this season as the season's going on?
Yeah, I think Kristen Papierski's had a good solid year. She had the game-winning assist at Western Michigan. She made a fantastic play, but she's been solid throughout the year. We've had different players step up. Jessie Hubley, another senior, has done well as a defender. She actually got the goal last Friday against South Dakota, so that worked out well for her and the team going forward. I think Valerie Gagnos and Tessa Daniels, being the 2 center backs, have had fantastic years so far.
Last question. This is your second year here at Loyola. What differences has it been since the first year?
Yeah, the first year, anytime there's a coaching change, it's about getting our philosophy in. So it's more of implementing the philosophy. The second year is more of the can we apply the philosophy? And I think the girls, we had so many girls returning from last year, just sprinkled in with some freshmen this year. So the philosophy is kind of taking place, and the girls are believing in it, and we're really creating that culture of a competitive culture.
All right. Well, best of luck on Friday. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What comes after graduation for the reigning MVP of the NCAA Horizon League Championship? For 5th-year senior Peter McEwen, it's another season with the Ramblers. We caught up with the goalie of the men's soccer team to talk about his plans to go pro after this year.
Most Loyola students would recognize this 6'6" man as the goalie for the men's soccer team. But he graduated last year, so why is he still here?
I would love to be able to play this sport as a job and play professionally.
After last year's win in the Horizon League Championship, Pete made contact with some Major League Soccer clubs and was even invited to a training camp for Sporting KC. He had a good chance of getting on the roster, but decided to come back for a 5th year at Loyola.
It's just a great place to grow as a person and grow as a player. We have an excellent coaching staff with Brendan Knights and now Stan Anderson as well.
Pete tells us that it takes 10,000 hours of training to become an expert at any craft. In order to do that, he's been playing a lot, even outside of the Ramblers season.
I played with Chicago Inferno, which was a PDL team. I've also trained with the Minnesota Thunder. I got to go through training sessions with them, which was a great experience.
In 2012, he hopes to help bring Loyola back to the NCAA tournament. But look out for Pete in 2013, because he hopes to be on an MLS team when the season begins next March. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Audrey Bailey.
The Bears lost, Northwestern remains undefeated, and hockey is in their 4th labor dispute in 20 years. Mary Segden, Kristen Jones, and Steve Manny are here with more on these issues on the Weekly Ramble.
Hey there, Rambler fans, and welcome to the Weekly Ramble. I'm Mary Sugden, joined alongside by Steve O'Manny and Kristen Jones. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
How about we get a little friendly handshake before we get the competition going? All right, first question, let's get to it. All right, so NHL, obviously in a little bit of trouble right now. Is it panic time? Steve-O, what do you think?
Yes, it's panic time. 91 players have already signed overseas. That's a lot. As a matter of fact, games have already been canceled. A couple of games against the Red Wings are gone. Fans who have bought tickets a long time in advance are going to miss that. And we're going to probably see some more games canceled in the future. So yes, it is time to start worrying about the NHL. Hopefully basketball is good.
Fair enough. Kristen, what do you have to say?
I have to disagree. I mean, I don't think ESPN has been covering it a lot, so I don't think it's a big deal. and I think a contract will probably be devised shortly. So I'm going to have to say no.
All right, let's see what the Rambler fans had to say. 65% said no, so points go to Miss Kristen, who's up 1-0.
Still early.
All right, let's get to our next question. All right, so Notre Dame football, a little different, a little on their own, but they're mostly in the ACC. So do we think that they're going to be joining a conference within the 5 years? What do you think?
I think so far, as conferences become bigger and bigger, there are less and less teams that are going to be willing to play Notre Dame. So in the future, yeah, I think they're going to have to join a conference or they're going to run out of opponents. So in 5 years, yes, they're going to be in a conference. It might not be the ACC, but yes.
All right, Kristen.
I actually agree with Steve. I believe the Notre Dame football team will join the ACC. They won't have anybody else to play if they don't.
All right, let's see if the fans agreed with you guys. Oh, doesn't look like
Wow.
it. 62% said no,
Okay.
so neither of you guys are going to get any points
All right.
on this one. Wah, wah. Let's move on to the next question. All right, so Northwestern doing pretty well so far. They're one of the 3 teams that are 3-0 in the Big Ten. Is it time to get excited about Northwestern football? Steve, what do you got to say?
I think Northwestern's a little bit of a relative team in Chicago where I don't think they're necessarily the team of Chicago. That's their motto, but I don't really think that they've joined in. I don't think they buy in. I think they're still fans of Notre Dame and U of I more. I don't think fans are going to get excited until they get a big win, so no.
No. Kristen?
I agree. Northwestern actually hasn't made a name for themselves for college football.
All right, let's see if the fans agreed with you guys. Once again, you guys are totally off the fans. Let's see. 75% say yes, so Steve-O.
I clapped, thought I got it right, did not.
Doesn't look like you got it right, so still 0
Really thought
for
I got it right.
So Kristen, you still got the
Nope.
lead going in. We got 2 questions left. All right, let's get on the next one.
All right.
All right, so last week, 75% of you thought that the Bears could come out on the NFC on top. Little shaky last week. What are we thinking? Do the Bears still have a chance of winning the division? Stevie, what do you got to say?
I saw a headline today, and a satire sports website, but it said, Jay Cutler lies down on ground while the team runs through walkthroughs. So I'm going to say, no, they don't have a chance of winning.
Fair enough. Kristen, what do you got to say? I got what you got thinking.
I say yes. I love the Bears. So I think their defensive line is incredibly strong. And it's Chicago. We have an incredible fan base, so everyone wants them to win.
First time we got a little bit of a disagreement. Let's see what the fans said. Oh man, Steve-O came out on top. 66% of you said no. So let's go to the scoreboard here.
Jacket's coming off for the last
So
question.
it looks like we got a tie going in our last question here. 1-1. Jackets are off, people. It's getting serious, all right? All right, last question. Here we go. All right, so right now we've got some soccer going on, some softball. Is anyone going to go to games before basketball and men's volleyball start? They're really popular sports here on campus. What do you guys think? Steve-O?
I know the answer to that question. The answer is no. People aren't going to make the trip up to the Hoyne Field or any of the other games just because it's inconvenient and the teams aren't having their best year. However, I know our fan base and our fans that are voting are going to those games. So I'm going to say yes, they're going to be there.
Very true. Kristen, what do you got to say? I got to know what you're thinking.
This is the tiebreaker. So
Choose wisely.
I am also going to say yes, reluctantly. I believe it's beginning of the year, and sporting events are good social reasons to get out and get to know everyone from Loyola. So I'm going to say yes.
All right, let's see if Rambler Nation agrees with you guys.
They do.
Looks like they do.
wins?
So
Who
let's
wins?
see. We got a tiebreaker. But I
Who
think
wins?
in Rambler Sports Locker fashion, we got to give it to the ladies. Got to go with the girls. So it looks like Miss Kristen, you are our winner.
Oh, I don't know what happened
Technical
there.
difficulties always happen here at Rambler Sports Locker. But thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys next week.
And that will do it here for the Rambler Sports Locker. Be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at LU Sports Locker. Also be sure to follow our Instagram, username Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Nick Amatangelo.
And I'm Amanda Crowham. Thanks for stopping by the locker, and don't forget to turn off the lights.